Hello everyone, welcome to Middle Fantasy. I'm Zack, and today we're talking all about Dawnshard. Now, I'm a little tired because I spent a good part of 6 or 7 hours waiting for the book to drop. I was just like hitting refresh. I think I might be clinically insane because I was looking for a different result every time I was hitting the refresh button, but it didn't happen until it did. I read it in one sitting, and I'm here to talk to you all about it. Now, before I begin this, I just want to say that there's going to be no spoilers for the book. We're going to be doing an initial impression, what I thought about it without spoilers. I'm going to be doing a separate video talking about that. Though, keep in mind when it comes to Dawnshard, this book does take place between Oathbringer and Rhythm of War, so you can't really read this book, if you want to just pick it up and read like a novella. This one might not be the best one for you because there are some spoilers through the events of both Oathbringer and leading up to Rhythm of War, so you've been warned by that. But why don't we get into it, because I'm so excited to talk all about Dawnshard. So this novel is all about Rysn, who is a merchant captain, and she leads an expedition to a mysterious island in Amia where people haven't come back from. It's, no one ever goes in, no one ever goes out, because they mysteriously just die, and there's ghost ships, and it is a place that's like a Shipbreaker Bay, like no one just goes there. But she's been tasked with a couple of familiar radiants that we meet along the way to go to this island, chart it out, figure out what's going on with it. Is there anything magical or mystical about the place? But at the same time, she's trying to figure out the secrets of Larkins, like her own Cheery, like a little Larkin on her shoulder. It's getting sick and getting a little homesick. Well, luck might have it, that mysterious island might be her home. Now, what I like about this is a Rysn story, and Rysn's such a fascinating character. We've seen her since the Way of Kings, and in Words of Radiance, something happens to her where she loses her ability to use her legs. And when it comes to Dawnshard, what I was like a little wary about, but when Brandon Sanderson put that post out asking people and beta readers, hey, help me with this, I have a hard time, I don't know things about people that have disabilities, that don't have the ability to use their legs, why don't we, work together and figure this out? And when it comes to Rysn, her part's about trying to figure out, how she has this disability on the ship, how she can actually function without needing people's help is so great in this book. That's one of the things that's like the main drama and stuff of this book isn't that it's her disability, but how she solves problems without having the ability to use her legs on a ship that's surrounded by water. And I found that to be such an honest depiction of it. And there's a lot of times where you get into her headspace of like people staring at her, people like almost being condescending. And at the end of the day, she doesn't give two trucks a little bit. And what I like about Rysn is she's almost like the Jean-Luc Picard. She's very smart. She's really good with like business and almost negotiation in many ways. And she's a really, really good captain, which I find that if you like the Star Trek of like diplomacy over using a shard blade, you'll really like the story, especially when it comes to Rysn, because she's so easy to get into her headspace and you understand her conflicts and her worries and her wants and her dreams. And it's something that no matter what she's doing, like she might be in a chair, but at the end of the day, she's a giant among everyone on her ship because she's just like, I know what I want to do. I'm going to follow my dream no matter what. And we're going to go to this mysterious island. Maybe we might die. Maybe we might find some secrets. But at the end of the day, we're going to sail there and make a lot of money because it's all about the money and a lot about the profits. And you can't falter for that. Now, my biggest concern when I heard about this book was that the Lopen was going to have some viewpoint chapters and he was going on this adventure. And I was a little scared because I like Lopen. Lopen isn't a character that I don't like. But Brandon Sanderson might be good at writing like magic systems and creating them, but he ain't good at crafting jokes. I'm sorry, but when it comes to Brandon Sanderson's humor, it's very hit or miss, mostly miss. But when it comes to Lopen, he's the quintessential like comedic relief character, especially among Bridge 4. He is, a Herdazian. The Herdazians are basically like, in this universe, like very Hispanic. Like I know a lot of people, like I'm almost like Lopen in many ways of calling everyone like a cousin and almost, being very jovial. Like people will just like hang out with you and just be like, hey, you want to have my shirt off my back? That's Lopen. Lopen's the person that you just love him. But also at the same time, he doesn't take his job very seriously. Though, if you might have a hard time with that, I think Brandon Sanderson does a good job with this, with Lopen and his humor, because we get these viewpoint chapters and his jokes are they're there. Some of them are miss, most of them are miss, but a lot of them do hit. There's a good setup and payoff. But we get a different side of Lopen. We see he isn't just all jokey because we get into his head, but at the same time, we figure out what makes Lopin the Lopin. And I really did enjoy that, though I like that this is still primarily a Rysn story. There are only a few chapters with Lopin, and they're very precise in what they need to do, because you can't have a character that is a Radiant and not fly and do cool things, but at the same time, you have something like Rysn, who is the more diplomatic person. They're almost like, each of them are like comedic foils, because you see different scenes with them, how they approach different subjects, how they approach different problems. And I like that, because, again, this is an adventure story. This is like a mysterious island story. This is one of those where, I guess the best way to put it is, if you don't like the Peter Jackson King Kong movie, you might not like this book a little bit, because the majority of this book takes place on a ship, and then they get to the mysterious island, and again, it follows into those trappings of, Peter Jackson's King Kong, of like, okay, let's get to the island. But this time, because you like the characters, you want the characters to succeed, the boat stuff is the most fun parts of the book, and getting to the mysterious island part might be the thing that like lacks a little bit. But once you get to the island, you discover the mysteries of it, you are in for a really good time and some really amazing scenes that are going to stand out for years to come. Though the most disappointing thing about this book with Dawnshard is there were no sea shanties. Come on, this is a book about ships, and I found that to be so cool. Like, how does a ship work in Roshar for a place that pretty much has storms constantly? Like, how does a ship work? And you find out those answers about how does a ship actually function in Roshar during hurricane level winds that just occur, every other day almost. And I found that to be so exciting, but there weren't any sea shanties. You have these crew of people, but that's the thing, there were sea shanties. So that's why I made a list of sea shanties. I'm going to be making a concept album. Maybe Brandon would be a backer for this. I'd really appreciate it. So here are the list of songs I'm thinking of proposing. Running Down to Amia, Lowlanders Away, Sky Eels in the Sky, Storm Along Kaladin, and Drunken Herdazian. So if you're a huge fan of the Stormlight Archive, this is going to be a very welcome addition to your bookshelf. I don't know when it comes to the huge plot twists and all the things that happen in this, how they're going to be in the overall narrative of the story. They're going to be that I'm interested to see how they're going to be incorporated. But when it comes down to the story, it's a small adventure with big implications. And that's kind of what I like about it. It is not like a huge Stormlight book where after 1,000 pages your mind just melts. This is a very quick read. I read it in about 3 hours, and by the end I was satisfied. It had a beginning, middle, and end. It was a good voyage story, and that's what I really enjoyed about it a lot, was you have this voyage. I mean, it goes back to Journey Before Destination. The majority of this is a journey. The characters are fun. There's a lot of interesting things about the world building, especially like being on a boat in Roshar was so interesting. And being able to, like, I wish I could actually go on a boat in Roshar. That's kind of those fun things to see. But at the end of the day, this is a very solid book. And I just have to say, go read it when it comes out. It'll be in digital very, very soon. In print, but to BD. And when it comes to the audiobook, that might be out for a while. But you'll be able to get it digitally right before Rhythm of War comes out. And you can read it either before Rhythm of War or after, because I feel like Brandon Sanderson is going to incorporate it in a way where they might have like one-off mentions about it, but you need to really read the book to understand it. Well, everyone, thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. If you like this video, maybe consider subscribing down below. That would really help me. What do you guys think of this book? Have you read it yet? Well, before you do some spoiler stuff, we're going to be having a spoiler section as another video, so check that out. It'll be out very, very soon. Well, everyone, thank you all so much for watching this video. And like always, may your food and drink ever be tasteful, and may your books be filled with fantasy and adventure. Bye, everyone! See ya!